Video script. This is the AIPER Cordless Robotic Pool Cleaner, and I've been running it in my 24-foot round above ground pool as I get ready for summer. I wanted a simple, reliable way to keep the floor clean without dragging a hose or cord across the deck. Going in, I was curious about a few things. How fast it would get going after I dropped it in, whether it could handle leaves and sand, and how much effort the cleanup would take after a cycle. I also wondered if it would know when to stop near the edge so I wouldn't have to fish it out from the middle. Key features that jumped out to me right away are the dual drive motors underneath, 2 brush strips for scrubbing and directing debris into the intake, a built-in battery so there's no external cord, and the self-parking function. Dual drive motors just means it uses 2 small motors to power and steer itself, so it can turn smoothly and adjust direction when it meets a wall or ladder. Cordless means the battery's inside the unit, so you don't have to connect a power cable while it's cleaning. Self-parking means that once it finishes its run or senses low power, it moves to a reachable spot near the wall so you can pull it out. Setup was straightforward. The handle is solid and balanced, which matters more than I expected because lifting a wet cleaner can be awkward. I charged it right away, and a full charge took about an hour and a half. That feels quick enough to top it off between uses. There's a single power button. I pressed it, waited for the indicator, set it in the water, and within about 30 seconds it woke up and started moving. That little delay is normal. It's letting water prime the system and confirming it's submerged. From my experience, the way it moves looks smart without being fussy. It picks a line, rolls forward at a good clip, and then adjusts when it meets a boundary. When it touches a wall, it doesn't just get stuck. It pauses, backs up, pivots, and takes a new path. On my pool's curved bottom where the floor meets the wall, it rode up a bit and then reset its angle, which told me it was holding traction and not just skimming randomly. I could see trails in the fine dust on the floor as it passed, which is oddly satisfying because it shows exactly where it's been. Debris pickup has been solid. My pool collects a mix of tree leaves, little twigs, and gritty sand tracked in by kids. The AIPER pulled in the larger pieces and didn't choke on them. The brushes help push stuff toward the intake, and the suction pulls it into the filter basket. Fine particles are usually the test. I watched the water cloud up a bit behind it in the first minutes as it stirred settled dust. Then it cleared as the cleaner made more passes. When I lifted the unit out after a session, the basket had a convincing catch. Leaves, a surprising amount of sand, and that thin film of silt that makes the floor look dull. That week-to-week grime is exactly what I wanted to handle without hauling out a manual vacuum. In my opinion, the self-parking feature is the unsung hero here. Once the cycle wrapped up, the cleaner didn't stop in the middle. It moved to the side and idled near a corner, which made it easy to hook and pull up by the handle. No diving, no reaching with a pole. Cordless also means no tangles. There's nothing looping around your ladder or skimmer line, which is a relief if you've ever fought a floating cable on a windy day. Cleaning the filter is basic. The top opens, the basket lifts out, and a quick rinse with a hose knocks everything free. If you've never used a robotic cleaner before, that basket is just a reusable filter that traps debris. You don't throw it away. You rinse and pop it back in. I let it drip dry for a minute, then set the cleaner back on the charger. That same hour and a half gets it ready for the next run. It's the kind of upkeep that you can do without thinking about it, which is exactly what I want from a tool like this. Navigation has been dependable for a flat-bottom setup like mine. It's rated for both above ground and in-ground flat pools up to 40 feet, and I can see why. It kept its bearings even when it brushed against the bottom drain and casually slid around the ladder base. On corners, it took an extra pass now and then to fully clear fine grit, but that's normal. Any small misses were taken care of on the next lap. If you're new to robotic cleaners, the movement might look random, but the point is coverage over time. It changes angles as it goes so the lines overlap. A note on walls and steps. This type of cordless floor cleaner isn't built to climb vertical walls or scrub the waterline the way some high-end units do. What it does well is handle the curve where the floor meets the wall, reset direction, and keep covering the floor. If you've got a lot of algae at the waterline or tiled steps that need a dedicated scrub, you'll still want a quick brush there. For day-to-day debris on the floor, this thing pulls its weight. It's perfect for someone who wants the pool to look clean without scheduling a vacuum session every weekend. I've used it after a windy day when leaves rain down, and also after a regular week with light dust. In both cases, the floor looked better than I expected when I pulled it out. The build feels lightweight without feeling flimsy. The handle doesn't bite into your hand, and the footprint is compact enough that storage isn't annoying. If you're worried about whether it can start fast enough to use before guests come over, it's simple. Power on, drop in. Give it that half-minute to boot and let it work. From my experience, the smartest way to use it is to make it part of a routine. I run it weekly and sometimes twice a week if the trees are shedding. The filter rinse adds maybe 2 minutes at the end, and the short recharge time means it's ready again the same day if I want a second pass. If your pool gets heavy spring debris, you might do one run to grab the big stuff and a second run to polish the fine silt. That's still easier than dragging out a manual vacuum and dealing with hoses and backwashing. Key features I appreciate most are the dual drive motors for steady traction and turning, the self-parking that saves me from chasing it with a pole, the simple single-button start, and the light, cordless design that keeps the deck clean and clutter-free. Those are the things that actually change how often I clean and how I feel about it. No fuss means I use it more, and using it more means I spend less time staring at dirt on the pool floor. I'd recommend this for above-ground owners like me and anyone with an in-ground flat pool, up to about 40 feet, who wants a no-nonsense cleaner that deals with everyday debris. If you've got deep corners, fancy steps, or a need for wall scrubbing, you may still do quick touch-ups with a brush, but this will keep the majority of the mess out of your way. If you're brand new to robotic cleaners, the learning curve is tiny. Press the button, drop it in, and remember to empty the basket afterward. That's the whole routine. In my opinion, the value comes from ease. No tangles, quick charge, and a filter that tells the truth when you open it and see all the junk you're not swimming with anymore. The floor looks clear, which is what I notice most when sunlight hits the water. In conclusion, the AIPER Cordless Robotic Pool Cleaner does what I hoped. It wakes up fast, covers the floor well, handles leaves and sand, parks itself where I can grab it, and cleans up easily. If you want less hassle and a cleaner pool floor during swim season, this fits the bill. Check the comments of this video for a link to see the current pricing of the AIPER Cordless Robotic Pool Cleaner. Thank you for watching.